Hello everyone, welcome to our live channel. I'm your host Ilya, came from Defense. Our company have a history around 30 years old, and our main product is wire mesh fence, temporary fence, chain link fence, high security fence, tubular fence, and so many kinds of fence. You can find it from our website. And today I will introduce to you our main product. High security fence is also called anti-climb fence and 358 high security fence and prison high security fence. Now you can see there is a sample, small sample. This one is with I-type post. You can see the shape like a letter I, so we call it I-type shape. For the mesh panel, there's a bending. You can see this bending is not similar with our wire mesh. It's more small because this center is small, so the bending should be small. If it's very bigger, so it's very trouble to this. Now you can see there is a clamp. We call it spider clamp. It's very suitable for this I-type shape. We usually use it like this. And it also has another color. This is yellow. Because the surface treatment is powder coated, PVC coated, so we can do so many colors. And the commonly colors is black and gray and green. You can see there are there are rudder wires on the top. There are two special clamps. And on the bottom, there's a base. It's a square base. If we use a base, there will be a space around 50 millimeters. And it also can use no base. So the post should be higher than then the post should be longer than the mesh, about 500 millimeters. Also some plants used it about 1 meter. Okay, now I will introduce to you the post size. The width is 44 millimeter and the length is 70 millimeter, and the thickness can be 1.2 or 1.5 millimeter. And there is a plastic anti-ring cap. We use it like this so that the ring anti into the post. Okay, now here is a screws, and then we put the screws throughout the spider clamps, and then we use the knot. And then we use the knot, tie it like this. Now I will introduce the surface treatment to you. There are 4 types of the surface treatment. The first one is electric galvanized, and the second is hot dip galvanized after black wire and tube welded. And the third one is PE coated, and the fourth one is PVC coated after galvanized. If the surface treatment is PVC coated, then there are so many colors. There are so many kinds of colors we can choose. Because the PVC coated is no MOQ, but the commonly color we always use black, gray, and green. Now I will introduce to you the size of the mesh. The height, it can be 2.2 or 2.3 and even 2.5 and 2.8. But if the height is too high, the length should be shorter because you know the container's length is 2.35 meter. So if the height is is 2.3 meter, so the length should be 2 meter or 2.2 meter. Then we will packing it on the pallet, so it's easy to loading and unloading. Okay, now let's see the small sample. On the top there's a rudder wear. On the top there's a rudder wear. If there are two rudder wear, so the distance of the two clamps should be 200 millimeter. Okay, now I finished this. Now I finished the introduce of this eye post. The following I will introduce the next type post of the high security fence. Okay, now let's change the small samples. Hello, welcome back. I'm Ilya, coming from Giant Fence. Now I'm introduce our main product. High security fence is also called 358 high security fence and anti-clamp high security fence, and it's also called prison security fence. Now I will introduce the second post, match the mesh panel. You can see this is an anti-ring cap, the shape like a letter I, and so we call it I-type post. Now you can see this is a smaller one and this is a bigger one. This bigger one for this and this smaller one for the previous I-type post. So this is this type post. So this I-type post is a bigger one, and the size of the post is, the length is 40 millimeter and the width is 40 millimeter and the length is 100 millimeter and the thickness is 1.2 millimeter or 1.4 millimeter. And this ring cap. And this anti-ring cap is plastic. Now let's see the surface treatment. This one is PE coated, and the color is gray. Now you can see this one is gray and this one is black. For the PE coated, the common color is gray, black, and green. You can see the wire diameter. This one, the horizontal wire diameter is 3 millimeter, and the vertical diameter is 4 millimeter. Now you can see the mesh hole is very small, so my finger is also cannot through it. So when someone wants to clamp this one, it's very difficult. So it's also called anti-clamp fence. Now you can see the mesh hole. The vertical mesh size is 3 inch and the vertical mesh size is 0.4 inch. And the wire diameter is 8 gauge, which is 4 millimeters. So it's also, this one is also called 358 high security fence. Now you can see this is a special clamps. We call it spider clamps. You can see there is a curves. You can see there is a curves. So we should put these clamps into this one, like this. And there is a skills. We can throw out the clamps like this. And then there's a knot. We can tie it like this, so that the mesh panel will be fixed with the post. You can see the panel is a flat panel because the center base is very small, so there is without a bending. Okay, now let's see the base. There is a square base. The square base, the size is about 150 millimeter by 150 millimeter, and the thickness about 4 millimeter. If you don't need the base, the post should be longer than the mesh panel, about 50 millimeter, and even some plants use it about 6 millimeters or 1 meters. Now let's see the surface treatment of the mesh panel. This one is hot dip galvanized after welded, and this one is PVC coated after galvanized, and this one is PE coated after galvanized. Some comers always said there are so many wears, so the weight and the cost about the weight and the cost will be very big. So we also can provide the horizontal wear is 3 millimeter and the vertical wear is 4 millimeter. It's also strong as the same as the 4 meter by 4 meter, 4 millimeter and 4 millimeter. Okay, now I finished this one, and let's change the next small sample. Hello, welcome back. This is Ilian. I came from Defense. Our company has a history around 30 years, and we are very professional in the wire mesh. Our company is located in the hometown of wire mesh in China, Anping County, Hebei Province. Welcome to visit us. Our main products is wire mesh fence, temporary fence, chain link fence, tubular fence, and high security fence. If you like the, this is our website. You can find the, and this is our website. You can find so many kinds of products in our website. And this way, this is our email address. You can contact us. Okay, now I will introduce the third post. This one is a square post. The size of the square post is 30 by 30 millimeters or 80 by 80 millimeters, and the thickness of this one is 1.5 millimeters, and it also can do 2 millimeters. The post length should be longer than the mesh panel, about 300 millimeters or 700 millimeters. It also can be 1 meters. And for the ring cap, you can see there are 3 types of the plastic ring cap, anti-ring cap. This is ABS, and this we also can do PP and PVC. PP, yes. We also have metal clamps. No, we also have metal anti-ring cap. Okay, now I finished my introduction of this kind of post match the mesh panel. Then let's change the small Now let's change the sample. Hello everyone, welcome back. This is Ilya. I came from Jane Fence. Our main product is wire mesh fence, temporary fence, chain link fence, tubular fence, high security fence, and so many kinds of fence. Now I introduce the high security fence. It's also called anti-clamp fence, 358 high security fence, and prison security fence. It's very popular in North Africa and so many countries, the prison site and the airport site. Now you can see this one. There is a spy. On the top, and you can see. Now there is a small sample in my hand. You can see there is a bending on the top, and then we put the spy on the top. You can see there are some holes on the spy. Then we put the spy on the top of the mesh panel. Then we can use the screws throughout it, and then we use the knot fix the. Then it finish like this. You can see the spy is very sharp, so it's anti-clamp. If someone wants to clamp this one, it's very dangerous. You can see the mesh hole is very small. My fingers cannot through out it, so it's very high security. You can see there is a flat ball, and this is a hole on the flat ball. Then we can use the screws throughout the flat ball. In the square post, there's a special knot in the square post, so we only should put the screws throughout the flat ball. Then it's finished. It's very simple and easy. You can see the color of this one is black, and we also can do it as green. Because this one the surface treatment is PE coated, and we also can do PVC coated. If the surface treatment is PVC coated, so there is no MOQ of the colors. So we can do so many kinds of colors like this. For the spy, we have 3 tabs. This one is a middle tab, and we also have a big tab, like this. And we also have another tabs of the big spec. Sometimes the top no bending. Sometimes there's no bending on the top. So we can use it like this, and then put the screws throughout it. Okay. You can see the surface treatment of the spec. This one is hot dip galvanized, and this one is powder coated after galvanized. Now I will introduce the post size to you. This one, the post size can be 60 by 60 millimeters, and the thickness can 1.5 millimeter or 2.0 millimeter, and the size is also can be 80 by 80 millimeters. and on the bottom there is a space. There is a base. There is a base on the bottom. The base size is 140 millimeters by 140 millimeters, and the thickness is 5 millimeters. If you do not use the base, the post length should be higher than the mesh panel. The length should be 60 millimeters or 70 millimeters longer than the mesh panel. Okay, now I finished this introduction. Now we will introduce the next one, samples. Hello everyone, welcome back. This is Ilya. Now I introduce our main product, high security fence, to you. It's also called anti-clamp fence because the mesh panel is very small. My fingers cannot through out it, so it's anti-clamp. It's also named 358 high security fence because the mesh hole, the horizontal mesh hole is 3 inch, and the vertical mesh hole is 0.5 inch, and the wire diameter is 8 gauge, which is 4 millimeters. But some customers ask, there are so many wires, so the raw materials of the weight, so the weight and the cost of the raw materials is very high. So we also can do the horizontal wire is 3 millimeter, and the vertical wire diameter is also 4 millimeter. It's also strong. It's also strong like the 4 millimeter by 4 millimeter. You can see the surface treatment. This one is PVC coated, and this one is PE coated. If you do not like the horizontal wire diameter is 3 millimeters, it's also okay. You can choose the surface treatment is PE coated. As we know, the PE coated powder thick As we know, the PE coated and the PVC coated powder thickness is different. If we use the PE coated, the wire diameter before the PE coated, the wire is 3.2 millimeter. And if you choose the PE coated, the wire diameter before the if you choose the PVC coated, the wire diameter before the PVC coated should 3.8 millimeters. So if you choose the different surface treatment, the weight and the cost has a very big difference. Now let's see the small sample. There's a special cap on the top. If you don't like this one, we also have the other kinds of anti-ring cap. This one is ABS, and this one is PP, and we also have PVC plastic anti-clamp, anti-ring cap. Now we can see on the top there is a square post. Why there is a square post? Because there is on the top there's a big tap spike. You can see the mesh panel is no bending on the top. You can see the mesh panel is no bending on the top, so there is a square post on the top. Then the spine on the then we can fix the spine and the square post by the screws and the knot. You can see this one, the surface treatment is galvanized, and this one is powder coated after galvanized. The color this one is black, and we also can do green and gray. Because the surface treatment is PVC coated, so many colors you can choose, like this. Now you can see there is a bending on the mesh panel. The bending will make the mesh panel more stable and stronger. You can see there's a bending, so we should use a special clamp. You can see there is one hole, and then we can use the screws throughout the clamp. We can use the screws throughout the clamp, and then we can use this knot fix them. Now let's see the base. There is a square base on the bottom. The size of the base is 150 millimeters by 150 millimeters. The thickness of the base is 5 millimeters. And if you do not use the base, then we should use the. If you do not use the base, then the post should longer than the mesh panel. It's always 30 millimeters or 70 millimeters. And even 1 meter. Okay, now I finished this one, and let's we check and let's we change the sample. Hello everyone, welcome back. I'm Ilya, came from Gent Fence. Our main product is wire mesh fence, temporary fence, chain link fence, high security fence, tubular fence, crowd control barrier, and so many kinds of fence. You can find the products. You can find the products from our website. Now I will introduce the last. Type shape of the high security post. This post is shaped like a letter H, so we call it H post. This post is very strong. Even this small sample, I can't move it by myself. Now you can see on the top and the bottom, this is not a square post. This one is an angle error, and the size of this one, the length is 50 millimeters, and this one is also 50 millimeters, and the thickness of the angle error is 5 millimeters. Why we use the angle error? Because we can put the mesh and the error. Because we can fix the mesh panel and the angle error, and we can use these screws throughout it, and then we use the knot like this, tie it. Now you can see the surface treatment of the mesh panel is PVC coated, and the color is black. And we also can do the green and gray. Because the powder coated is PVC coated, so there is no MOQ of the colors. So many colors, so many kinds of colors is available to you. But the commonly color is black, green, and gray. And the post surface treatment is PVC coated. Now let's see the hole. There are some holes on the H post. The distance of the hole we suggest is 300 millimeter or 400 millimeter. and this one, the distance we suggest is 500 millimeters. And let's see the base. This is a very big base. The size of the base is 200 millimeters by 200 millimeters, and the thickness is 10 millimeters. This type of the high security fence is it's most expensive and very strong, very big. Even a truck or a car to hit on it, it will become very strong and no broken. Okay, now I finished the introduction of the high security fence. And the high security fence is also called anti-clamp fence, prison security fence, and 358 security fence. Because the mesh hole, the horizontal mesh hole is 3 inch and the vertical mesh hole is 0.5 millimeter. 0.5 inch. And the wire diameter, this one is 8 gauge, which is 4 millimeters. And we also can do the horizontal millimeters is 3 millimeter and the vertical wire diameter is also 4 millimeter. And for the surface treatment, this one is PE coated and this one is PVC coated. And we also have hard dip galvanized, and like this one, the color is gray. No, the color is silver. And the panel size, the height can be 2.2 or 2.3. If the height is 2.3 meter, then the length should be shorter because the container, as we know, the container length is 2.35 meter. So the length should be 2 meter or 2.2 meter. Then we will packing them on the pallet. It's very easy to loading and unloading. Now I finished the introduction of the high security fence. If you are interested in our products, please contact us. This is our email address, and this one is our website. In our website, there are so many kinds of the wire mesh, such as wire mesh fence, temporary fence, chain link fence, tubular fence, high security fence, crowd control barriers, edge protection barrier fence, and Y post and T post and form fence. So many kinds of fence. This is Ilya. That's all. Thank you. Bye bye.